why don't you begin by introducing yourself, Fahed, and just discussing your background, your history, and where you're at today.
Hello, everyone. I'm Fahed Ghanim, the CEO of Majid Al Futtaim Lifestyle. I've been with Majid Al Futtaim for the last 5+ years, but my journey in retail started more than 20 years ago when I first came to the region in 2003. But I consider myself to be a passionate retailer, somebody who, an avid learner. As I've grown in the region, learned from the region, and hopefully was able to leave an impact in the region and continue this journey of growth. So it's quite exciting times to be in the business of retail and to be definitely in the Middle East.
Fahed, to begin with, maybe give us an insight into the story behind Majid Al Futtaim Lifestyle. So what's the genesis of the lifestyle business at MAF? And then what do you see going on with it in the future? But let's start with the insight and the background.
Well, Majid Al Futtaim Lifestyle was founded in 2003 as a springboard to launch brands into our shopping malls. But our real transformation journey started 5 years ago, where we really felt that we had a bigger role to play, to bring more relevance and to play as a regional player, giving more options to brands and to customers in the region. So the transformation that we embarked on 5 years ago was a digital transformation, was a CX transformation, and a people transformation. There was a challenge that all retailers were faced with a few years ago: is how relevant is bricks and mortar retail? How relevant companies are with globalization and opening up of e-commerce and trade. So the boundaries were no longer the country that you operate in, as consumers could really transact anywhere in the world. And that really begged the question: is how can we make sure we have the right to play? And how can we make sure that we stay relevant in a very fast evolving industry? So it's been quite an exciting journey. Since then, we've quadrupled in size. We focused our portfolio, so we really zoomed in exactly on what is it that we want to deliver, with a clear mission and a vision for the company, which is basically being the partner of choice for disruptive and iconic brands that want to operate in the region, both digitally and physically, whilst creating great moments for everyone. So creating great moments is really at the heart of what we want to do, which is that customer centricity and applying that filter rather than being inspired from strategy, but more from listening closer to the different consumers we have, whether they're in UAE, Saudi, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, or Oman.
You're saying that really in the last 5 years, things changed dramatically, but that seems to tie in exactly with your tenure with the company. What was it that excited you about joining Majid Al Futtaim Lifestyle back then? Did you see that this change was coming? What was your thought?
Yeah, absolutely. I was hired with that mandate. At the time, Majid Al Futtaim was called Majid Al Futtaim Fashion, and it was not in its greatest shape, right? So we were losing a bit of that relevance. Financials were not as sturdy, despite being a part of one of the best conglomerates in the region. So, we were at a great advantage, but it was not really leveraged and it was not really focused. So we brought the focus back again, repurposed the company, changed our name to become more inclusive, so becoming more of a lifestyle offering, and then ventured into multiple pillars. So rather than focusing only on fashion and on bricks and mortar, we became omni. So today we've launched more than 18 digital channels that we operate across the region. And we went into 5 pillars. So fashion being where we came from, and that continues to be a very strong pillar for us. Home with Crate and Barrel CB2, and recently with the acquisition of Poltrona Fra, we're venturing into luxury high-end furniture, given the changes that we witness in the market and the influx of high net worth into the region. Lego was a brand that we carry in our specialty retail pillar, and Lego has an interesting story. Again, we had a turnaround of almost every brand in every single pillar, and there is a lot of stories of how we were able to reposition the brands and decide on their relevance into the business. Then we also ventured this year into the beauty segment, partnering with Shiseido, which is a 150-year-old Japanese brand, a leader in their industry that chose us as a partner of choice. But again, it was about how can we add value? What difference do we bring into the market? So part of our purpose was to move away from obsession of collecting brands and to focus on the brands that we have and ensure that we take them to their full potential. Lululemon is a brand that most of you are familiar with. If not, I invite you all to visit our stores and try their products, beautiful products. But that's a brand that grew 10x in the last 3 years. And to bring that 10x factor meant that we had to really transform our operating model, the way we handle our partners, the way we interact with our consumer base, and the way we treat our people. So the culture part was a great focus for us, a big focus to transform our culture to become more inclusive, empowering everyone in the ecosystem. I mean, it's not easy for a CEO to let go, but I literally give my power to everyone on the front line. If you want to make a difference, it has to be from the lens of the customer. It cannot, your moment of truth in the store or online to deliver a seamless journey became quite pivotal. And to enable that, it meant that we really had to change and let go of many of our ways and to retrain our caliber and to attract the talent that is able to deliver on that. So it was quite an exciting journey. I've learned a lot, and it's been also a very rewarding journey. So our CAGR the last 5 years was 32%. So year on year, we saw that growth paying fruit just by focusing our portfolio and making sure we focus on the people, people being our own people, our customers and our partners. And I saw my team grow and really shine. Saying goes, pressure creates diamonds, and you need to allow that to evolve in a positive sense of the word. So rather than creating stress, you actually give space and you empower the people to do what they do best, rather than to ask for permission. What we simply told everyone.
So many great things in what you're suggesting, but I think that what jumps out at me, Fahed, from what you're speaking about is the fact that you've gone from, like many other companies similar to Majid Al Futtaim, collecting the brands. You say we used to be just a collector of brands, but now when you're partnering with companies like Unilever and also Shiseido and other major organizations like this, it's a real break from what the past was. How did you see that as the way forward?
Well, it was simply focusing on our ecosystem. So, within Majid Al Futtaim, we touch 500 million visitors in a full year. So the ecosystem is actually quite powerful through our shopping malls, our Carrefour stores, our communities with Tilal Al Ghaf and Al Zahia and across the region. So how could we bring that relevance was quite important. And by really applying that filter on the selection of any brand, the question was, is this brand relevant globally? Is it successful? Is it adding value? Are they reinventing themselves to bring them? So it was beyond the product. So to go beyond transactional was a key focus in the selection criteria. I'll give you an example. Lego was a brand that was not doing so well when we took it over, with some decline. And very quickly we realized that the pricing was off. We had tough discussions with Lego headquarters saying, we need to get the pricing right for the region. You can no longer expect the customers to pay such a high premium. And they see there's price transparency that you can find digitally. So we took the hard choice. We reduced our margin on our end and on the partner end, and immediately we saw the numbers flip. So that was the first fix. The second fix was revisiting our stores, and we felt that the stores were, no longer exciting, and a brand that is so playful. So we brought the first store of the future into the EMEA region. It was one of the first top stores globally that was launched in Mall of the Emirates. And then we started rolling the same concept in Dubai Mall, and then in Kuwait and across the region. And immediately, it became a place where you can play, learn, interact, and building connections. We really enjoy the community. Almost 40% of our client base is actually adults. We call them AFOLs, adult fans of Lego. And they knew so much about the brand. The minute we opened up, they told us, what do we need to do right? So really listening to the consumer who know best how to grow your business was quite a light bulb moment. And it makes growth much easier. So it's a collaboration, listening to the community, and then giving them more relevant products and more relevant experiences that can help us grow in the region. So Lego has been performing phenomenally well. Lululemon is another brand that we also, we interact very closely with the community across the region. It's again very much beyond transactional and focus on the communities. So impacting communities. And when I say communities, it's not only our customers. Our team benefited from it. So we became, we started adopting more healthier lifestyle. We call it the sweat life. So we asked everybody to be involved in that sweat life, which was a beautiful transformation to see, and ended up very rewarding financially as well.
It's amazing what I'm hearing about all of the changes from what you've done since you've taken over. Congratulations on that, because it's put you, I think, leading the whole industry in many different ways. So when you're talking about getting immediate brand feedback or feedback, the brand experience and the feedback that's coming back, how do you actually capture that brand experience and get that feedback so quickly?
Well, first of all, you have to listen and you have to get out of your bubble. So, we definitely have, we've invested heavily in advanced analytics across the group. So data was a big source of information. And it's not only the data we collect. The mall had a lot of insights in terms of changing consumer behaviors. So applying all of those tools, being able to move from just collecting data to actionable insights was another learning. And then we actually took the advanced analytics culture from the data scientist team and tried to create it more of a culture. So we asked everybody to be involved. So our finance department became more involved, our HC department became more involved, our frontline operators. So the ownership does not sit only with the data scientists. It becomes a cultural movement in terms of really understanding the right use cases and then adjusting them. Because the first outcome you get out of those insights is completely irrelevant. So you have to marry both teams together. So it was a journey. It was about upskilling many of them, including myself, to understand the power of those tools and how to being able to change and adapt until we have the right insights. So that advanced analytics was a great tool to have. Then
what I'm hearing is that it starts from the top with you as a CEO. You've empowered your entire team. You've expected everyone to step up. And I think that's a much different position, particularly regionally, for you to take. How did that come about?
Well, I was, my success story, my personal journey was a story of empowerment. So I started my journey when I was 20 years old, and my boss sent me to negotiate a $50 million deal in Germany when I was 22. And I thought he was crazy. But I believe, he saw something. And I believe in giving space, especially to the younger generation, to the new talent, to contribute. So today we're dealing with multi-generational consumers, and we don't really understand how they behave. So it was important to invite our team and empower them. So, our millennials and Gen Zs to be part of that process. And we had one guiding principle is do the right thing. So if you're doing the right thing at that moment, don't ask for permission. We'll look at it and we'll learn. If there's a mistake, it's fine, fail forward, and let's capture the learn. So driving a culture of innovation and empowerment took time because it's easier said than done. So the implementation process meant that we had to have a discipline in our culture journey. So we launched a culture program year on year that I personally was involved in, and it goes beyond our Zoom or our town halls. It meant that I had to be in market, closer to the team, and then helping them get empowered. We had to aid them to take that power, take decisions, and move faster. Applying the filter. Does it add value to our customers or not? And that brought clarity. And then measuring what we do. So we do everything with intent, and if we fail, we know what are the criteria, and if we succeed, we understand the reasons behind our success. So that built more confidence in the ecosystem, and sharing those stories of empowerment also inspired others. So again, it's important to inspire the team across the region, celebrate success, and continue in that journey that we're still committed to.
Well, congratulations for you to do it the way you've done it. That's amazing, because what that also brings, in my view, looking at what you've talking about, listening to what you're saying, one of the biggest issues that I think many companies are now facing is how to attract and keep the Gen A's, the Gen Z's, and all of these other generations actively engaged in what's going on. And what I'm hearing is that you have got your team already focused on that next step through the feedback loops and through becoming relevant for all of these different age profiles. Why did you do that? How did you see that as being an important part?
Well, it's proven that if you have the right culture, your team will perform better. So we know this by data. We actually measure it. There's a OHI survey that we do annually by McKinsey, Organizational Health Index. And we just got the results of our company for 2023, and we're scoring at the top decile of the top quartile, which takes us. It was honestly quite a happy moment. But this is not me. This is the team really creating that positive culture. Doesn't mean that we don't make mistakes. It means that we have a culture that we're able to speak up and fix those mistakes. There is no fear of speaking up. There's a safety network that allows for innovation, that allows for iteration, and allows us to hear each other consultatively and grow the business. And it has really been a remarkable journey, a journey that motivates me personally to continue working at Majid Al Futtaim Lifestyle.
Well, congratulations on that. I think the next subject that I'd like to open up with you is the term sustainability. And I know that's we're talking about the environment. We're talking about every company now has to have some kind of a sustainability motive that's behind everything. Maybe tell us what you're thinking of when you think of sustainability.
Well, Majid Al Futtaim as a group was one of the first groups to commit to being net positive by year 2040. On itself, that's a big commitment, and it inspires a lot of us because as we're dealing with talent in terms of attracting talent and talking, and our talent pool is global. So we look at talent within the region and global talent. And that's one of the first questions is, what is your group agenda? Talent is looking for purpose-led organizations, and Majid Al Futtaim is definitely very much purpose-led. By creating great moments, so that focus on communities, on people, for everyone, every day, so it's quite inclusive, and with a strong sustainability agenda that is really, with science-based KPIs, it's really built into the system. So that's another filter that we actually learned. It's not a liability. It actually creates a healthy organization. So today we're able to build our stores more sustainably by sourcing from the region, but that also means that you're building them more economically. which also, leads to your bottom line. It meant that we consume less electricity and water, and we're more conscious about our impact on the environment. It also has a positive impact on your P&L. So I think our commitment was first about learning more about our impact on the environment, on the communities, on people. So, transforming lives and impacting the communities. It was quite inspiring, and it's something that we continue to commit and double down on. We're quite a diverse organization. Majid Al Futtaim Lifestyle, we have more than 60 nationalities. In the group, we have more than 120 nationalities. So our diversity is another source of our power, where we're able to see different perspectives and bring and harness that power of diversity to deliver better results and more relevance to a global consumer.
That on a personal level, what motivates you these days, and what are your sources for inspiration in the business of Majid Al Futtaim Lifestyle? Well,
I'm inspired by my kids. I have 3 kids, Hamza, Muhammad, and Alia, and they push me. I want to make them proud
yes.
by doing the right thing, and by creating a better world for the next generation. I'm very much inspired by being in Dubai. I think Dubai has really raised the bar and taught us how to dream big. So when we saw the UAE put their targets, they said we want to be number 1 globally. So really aiming quite high and actually delivering on it. So we saw the space missions. We saw many firsts in the region. We saw the growth of multiple industry and becoming an attraction for the world. So the region is a big source of inspiration. We see similar growth coming from Saudi with the Vision 2030, and we're inspired to be part of that journey and raising our bar. So dreaming big is something extremely important, but also putting a plan to deliver on it is very important. And I learned when I was younger, and it's a story I share with my team. When I was 15 years old, I read a book that asked me to write my dreams. The book was called Awaken the Giant Within. So I wrote down 10 dreams and tucked the book in my library. I was cleaning my library when I was in my mid-20s, and I found that list. And 9 out of those 10 were already achieved. So I had two insights. One is if you really articulate what is it you want to achieve, you actually end up achieving it. And the second thing is I was dreaming small, because I already achieved 9 out of 10 when I was only around 25. So we have the power in us. There is the talent. And this is an invitation to everyone to really dream big and go after your dreams and see them come through. And hopefully this is what I hope to leave behind, to inspire generations to have a bigger impact and to make the world a better place.
I've really enjoyed this conversation, and with our podcasts now, I think this is, I think it's something like our 65th or 66th podcast. We found that our sweet spot for our podcast is somewhere around 30 minutes, which is where we're at now. I would like to ask you, perhaps as a closing thought, do you have any thoughts about the future that you see and where you see things going, not only with Majid Al Futtaim Lifestyles, but the retail industry overall? But I know that you could talk for another hour about all that. But is there anything that you can just focus on that might leave us with something that we can invite you back for another podcast in the next coming months?
So I think retail industry is evolving very fast. And, we see, we had the metaverse, and today we talk about AI and the use of AI. And I think it's not, our objective is not really to be in the metaverse or to drive AI or to follow those buzzwords. It's about really filtering the right technologies and the right innovations that bring relevance. So how can we become more innovative? How can we keep up and stay relevant when our competition is quite global is a big challenge that a lot of retailers have to keep an eye on and keep focused to make sure that we maintain an edge in an exciting and evolving industry.
I've learned so much from you, Fahed. Thank you so much for being part of our podcast today. I think that what you've done, the way you've described who you are as a person, the fact that you write down some things and then you look back on them and they actually come true, I think that stands for a lot about who you are and why you've reached the level of success that you have. I really appreciate you taking this time with us. We'd love to invite you back for another podcast in the future, but I wanted to thank you very much for your time and for sharing with us the success of Majid Al Futtaim lifestyle and what role that's played and how you've played that with that yourself. So thank you so much.
Thank you, David. I'm humbled to be with you today, and thanks to all the team for their support. So I would love to come back. Hopefully the podcast will resonate. If not, then I'll work better next time, harder to become better.
It'd be wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
I appreciate you.